Here we have the iPhone 17 Pro, the smaller option of this year's Pro iPhones. A lot has changed this time around, but is it all for the better? And we'll go for GSM Arena and let's find out in our iPhone 17 Pro review. Apple has brought a fresh new look to its Pro iPhones this year, but that's not all we get with the iPhone 17 Pro. Besides the new aluminum build, with a vapor chamber for cooling, the 17 Pro packs a larger battery, faster charging, a new telephoto zoom camera, and a new selfie cam too. Going back to the design, the iPhone 17 Pro has a distinctly different look from its predecessor. Rather than glass, the phone is made of aluminum, but it still keeps a glass cutout for the wireless charging to come through. The aluminum continues into the extended camera bump and the rounded frame. The phone is still the same size as the plain iPhone 17, but it's not exactly a compact device, weighing in at over 200 grams. Apple says that the aluminum brings advantages over the titanium of last year. It's lighter and better for thermal management. But its anodized coating is also less resilient, and people have already reported issues with scuffs and scratches around the camera island. The ingress protection hasn't changed here. The iPhone 17 Pro is IP68 rated against dust and water submersion, all the way to a depth of 6 meters. The display of the iPhone 17 Pro is a 6.3-inch OLED panel with a variable 120Hz refresh rate and Ceramic Shield 2 glass protection. All of this year's new iPhones have an anti-reflective coating on the displays, which reduces glare, handy if you're using the phone outdoors. As far as brightness goes, we measured over 800 nits maximum when using the manual brightness slider, and this can boost up to over 1000 nits in automatic brightness mode. This matches the other new iPhone models. These numbers may not be as high as other phones we've tested lately, but the iPhone 17 Pro is still comfy to use in the sun, thanks in part to that anti-reflective coating. The display's 120Hz refresh rate makes swiping and scrolling appear quite smooth, and is able to dial down as low as 1 Hz when you stop interacting with it to save power. Content looks great here. The screen is sharp and contrasty as usual. The iPhone 17 Pro supports HDR10 and Dolby Vision video playback as well. Though of course the large cutout for the selfie camera is back again, and visible as ever. This cutout houses both the selfie cam and a 3D TOF sensor, which enables Apple's secure Face ID. You'll use it for biometrics and unlocking the phone, as there's no fingerprint reader. And Apple brings back its dynamic island functionality too. The area around the selfie cutout can be used to display context-specific info and shortcuts. For audio, the iPhone 17 Pro has a pair of stereo speakers. They're not as loud as last year, with a loudness rating of just average, but the sound quality is still good. It's clean, with decent low end. You can listen for yourself with our comparison tool linked below. Like last year, the iPhone 17 Pro has a hardware key that you can use to put the phone on silent. You can also assign this key to other shortcuts through settings. You can get the 17 Pro with 256 gigs, 512 gigs, or a terabyte of onboard storage, just like last year. That's not expandable through microSD card. All of the new iPhones come with Apple's new software interface, called iOS 26. The most notable difference here is the new liquid glass design language. This features larger icons on the home screen, as well as a bubble-like theme across the OS. Many elements are now rounded and partially translucent, with brightened outlines and borders. Quite a different look from before. We'll be doing an in-depth video about iOS 26, and we'll add a link to that here when it's ready. And for software support, you'll be getting at least 5 years with the iPhone 17 Pro, just like on previous iPhones. The iPhone 17 Pro gets the same chipset as the Pro Max. It's called the Apple A19 Pro, and it's the highest tier chip currently available for the iPhones. Another change is that the phone gets 12 gigs of RAM, up from 8 gigs last year. In benchmarks, the 17 Pro demonstrated meaningful improvements in both CPU and graphics scores compared to the previous model. For some reason, the Pro Max tends to slightly outscore it though. But still, this is just about the most powerful iPhone we've seen yet, and it can handle heavy tasks and games with ease. The iPhone 17 Pro also features a new vapor chamber plate, which together with the aluminum body is meant to improve the thermal management. The phone did a good job, maintaining high performance during our prolonged stress tests. However, the results were only slightly better than what we saw with the iPhone 16 Pro. Apple has equipped the phone with a considerably larger battery this time around. Our model with a physical SIM has a 12% larger battery than last year, and the eSIM only variant is 19% larger. As a result, the 17 Pro has better overall battery life than last year. The model we're reviewing earned a great active use score of 15 hours and 23 minutes. Apple has also improved the charging this time around by switching to a new charging standard, Power Delivery 3.2 with ABS. Using a proper ABS charging adapter, we were able to charge the 17 Pro from 0 to 70% in half an hour, and a full charge took an hour and 18 minutes. Noticeably faster than last year, despite the larger battery. There is support for reverse wired charging and Qi 2 wireless charging here as well. Moving on to the cameras, which include a new 48 megapixel 4x telephoto zoom, compared to last year's 12 megapixel 5x zoom. Besides that, the setup is the same on the back. There's a 48 megapixel main camera and a 48 megapixel ultrawide which has autofocus. There's again a hardware camera key, and it works just like last year. It can be used to launch the camera, adjust controls, and shoot. When looking at shots from the main camera, you see a livelier rendition of colors compared to last year, on top of an accurate white balance. There's plenty of detail in the default 24 megapixel shots, even though random textures may not be the most organic. There's great overall contrast and wide dynamic range with well-developed shadows and highlights. If you'd like to save some storage space, you can choose to shoot in 12 megapixels, and that should be easily good enough for almost all use cases. When shooting human subjects, there are a couple of misses on the iPhone 17 Pro. There's a tendency to soften facial detail, and in some scenes, the aggressive highlight restoration results in overly warm and saturated skin tones. 2x digital zoom shots are properly great, with nice resolved detail, even in random textures. That's an improvement over the previous generation, which itself wasn't too shabby. The 2x zoom mode is also good for taking shots of close-up subjects. You may decide to use this rather than the ultra-wide camera for a macro shot, depending on the effect you want. In low light, the iPhone 17 Pro's automatic night mode kicks in relatively rarely. You typically get excellent results though. There's a little grain in the shadows, but detail is great. Dynamic range is nice and wide, with the exception of point light sources. The auto white balance is dependable, and colors are looking excellent as well. The low light 2x zoomed results are also top class, sharp and detailed, like they came out of a good dedicated 2x camera. And now we have the new Telephoto cam. Its 4x zoomed shots are good, but not amazing. While there is plenty of detail, it also has a bit of an artificial rendition. Also, these shots could stand to be a bit sharper. Still, we're happy with the dynamic range and the colors here. Shooting people at 4x, you get more or less the same color and dynamic range treatment as on the main camera, as well as the smoothing of facial detail. We hoped to see the capability for close focusing on this telephoto cam, but that's not the case. With its roughly 85 centimeters of minimum focusing distance, you can't shoot close-ups with it. 8x zoom shots taken with the help of a digital crop aren't too exciting. They have decent detail, but they're not exactly better than what the iPhone 16 Pro could do. In low light, the 4x zoom does a decent job. The dynamic range is nice and wide, and colors look good. But there is some visible softness and noise too. Now, the ultra-wide cam. Its shots have good sharpness, great dynamic range, and accurate white balance. The colors are a bit more muted than the main cameras. At night, the ultra-wide is solid, more or less on par with other competing phones. All of this year's iPhones come with a new 18-megapixel autofocusing selfie camera with a uniquely shaped sensor. This gives it the capability of shooting 4x3 selfies in either portrait or landscape orientation without needing to physically rotate the phone. The selfies themselves aren't too different from what you get out of the previous generation, besides having a notably wider field of view, which is handy for fitting more subjects into the frame. The iPhone 17 Pro can record video in up to 4K at 60 FPS with all of its cameras, and you also get 120 FPS slow-mo on the main cam. And there's Dolby Vision recording and ProRes RAW and Apple Log 2 options. In typical iPhone fashion, the 17 Pro captures excellent video footage. Regardless of the camera you choose, or even the frame rate setting, you get clips with good detail, great contrast, wide dynamic range, and vibrant colors. Stabilization is awesome too. Clips come out nice and steady, with smooth out pans and walking shake. In the dark, the main cam's clips have wide dynamic range, excellent colors, and sharp detail. However, you do see some internal reflections caused by lights pointing into the phone, a long-standing problem of Apple camera lenses. These are even worse from the telephoto camera. but at least they aren't present when shooting with the ultrawide. So there you have it guys, the iPhone 17 Pro. We appreciate the upgrades in battery life and charging speed this year, and the new design is something fresh. Its practical benefits as far as thermal management goes don't seem very big though, and the 17 Pro may be easier to scuff and scratch than previous iPhones. Also, while the new telephoto cam is good, it's not miles ahead of the old one. So overall, while the iPhone 17 Pro does do some things better than its predecessor, it's not a slam dunk here. Still, it's worth having a look to see if it's right for you. Thanks for watching guys. If you're looking for alternatives, you can check out our reviews of the iPhone 16 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Let us know what you think down below, and I'll see you on the next one.